Guys, a little while back, Stan he had a great story. Do you remember about the radios and so on? And the other thing was, he also had that Tiger Moth. Well, Stan, how's it?
All right, fine, thanks. Yeah, we're going to look at the Tiger Moth now and find out what Peter's done to it.
Here we go.
Here's Peter. He's busy working on the engine.
Hello,
Peter.
Hello, Stan.
Oh, gosh.
Great to see you.
I love this. What's this?
The little Rhodesian penny.
Is it? Rhodesian penny?
Yes. Lovely stuff. Good to see you.
Yes, likewise.
This is your mistress from many years back.
For
Nearly 60 years.
60 years I had this strapped to my rear end.
60 years you had this plane?
Yeah.
So tell me, what happened when it actually got to, how did you get it, Peter?
Well, Stan had restored it, I think, twice previously. And I picked up on it in the sort of early 2012, 2013. Stan and his brother had started restoring the aeroplane, and then I think it slowed down a little bit, and then I took the project over and I finished it off.
Yes, I restored it, but I didn't assemble it. So Peter got all the bits and pieces and put it all together and made this magnificent machine.
You said to me, I think I remember you saying to me that you restored it twice.
Twice.
It was restored the first time because the fabric had deteriorated. The fabric was Irish linen.
Irish linen.
The original wartime.
So
hang on, I didn't even know. I mean, this is
fabric. Yeah, this is like,
Well, this is Ceconite.
This is Ceconite.
Yes, it's all covered with Ceconite now.
So tell me about that original fabric then. Why was it linen and so on?
Well, that's all they had in those days, but it was particularly good linen, Irish linen, which was the best you could get at the time.
And it deteriorates mostly with UV light and that. So you've got to cover them every, 15, 20 years or whatever. In the early days, 10 years, if they stood in the sun, a lot of UV. But nowadays they can last a lot longer, with the more modern fabrics. But it still looks the same. It feels the same.
Okay, so then tell me this. I'm just very curious to know about that fabric. If you do a fabric vehicle, how do you stretch it on and how do you put it onto the aircraft, that fabric?
Well, this modern fabric is glued on. So it's stretched over and it's glued around the back.
Yes.
And then it's still quite loose, so you have to heat it up with a hot air gun. And that shrinks it till you get the right tautness.
But how did you do with the real fabric? How did you do that?
Well, that also, when you first put it on, it was loose, so you had to put tautening dote on, which is a dote that, when it dries, it shrinks and it pulls
nitrate
it tight.
and butyrate dopes, which is a chemical you put on it, and then it shrinks and it makes the fabric tight, just like building a big model aeroplane. We all have a model aeroplane heritage.
But hang on a second, those sheets are, how do you join the sheets?
You sew them.
You sew them, you sew the sheets?
Yes, that's the old way of doing it. The modern way, you can
explain that with the fabric sheets?
The old fabric, if you wanted to join two pieces of material together, you actually sewed it together, stitched it.
You had to join it
on a special
one over the other and then stitch it. The first time I restored it, I sewed it on my old Singer sewing machine. Hand crank sewing machine.
Were you sitting in your home?
I've still got the sewing machine at home.
Is it? That's amazing.
There's and this aeroplane, I mean, the Tiger Moth first flew, what was 1932? So but
I think they were 1920s. The first
Gipsy Moth, the Gipsy Moth. But the most aircraft from that day were all fabric covered. There were very few metal or aluminium covered stress skin type aeroplanes. All the older airplanes all fabric covered. Mostly wooden fabric.
Yes.
So is this fabric still the same that you put on?
No.
Yes.
Put on 20 years ago. Yes,
20 years ago. So this is 20 years ago fabric still on this aircraft.
Yes. That's Celia's Tiger. Celia and I are partners in the aeroplane. She actually owns it. I just look after it and fly it for her. It's my wife. And so
Why the tiger?
well, tiger burning bright. I don't know, what did Spike Milligan say?
Well, Geoffrey de Havilland, when he
Yes.
designed these planes, he named them after various moths. Because you get
That's right.
the puss moth, and
The leopard moth,
moth,
all the different moths. Yeah. What was the moth person called again? I can't remember.
I don't know.
Yeah, can't think of it.
Okay, so now we know the tiger.
All of the Geoffrey de Havilland, he named them all after, well,
Moths.
Moths. Yeah.
Okay, and the engine on this aircraft. To tell us about that a bit.
This is called a Gipsy Major. It's a development of the Gipsy engine, which was originally a vertical engine. You can see this engine's inverted, so the cylinders point down. But the earlier ones, the engine was turned the other way, the Gipsy Moth. But then this aircraft was presented to the Royal Air Force, and the Royal Air Force said they need some changes, and so they turned the engine around to improve the visibility. You can see much better. And also the wing, they gave it a bit of sweep back, the top wing, so you can get in and out of the front cockpit quite easily with a parachute on. So that was it. But this is like of French design. The engine was originally designed by the French, and all metric bolts and nuts. So the aircraft is all British standard, but the engine is all metric, so it's two different standards. But and then these de Havilland's produced everything in house. They produced the engines, they produced the propeller, and by the way, this is still an original de Havilland propeller, which was given a complete fresh bill of clean health before I installed it on here. It's the original propeller that you got the aircraft with. I think in 1957 it was, 50 somewhere around there.
Yes.
Yeah.
So wooden prop. You
Wooden
can't see it
propeller,
now,
yes.
but it's wooden.
Yeah.
It's a wooden prop.
Yeah. So, but this Tiger has only a total time of about 1,000 hours. And the only major thing we did is I renewed the flying wires. All these structural stainless steel wires. The rigging, putting all this stuff on and adjusting all these little turnbuckles here to make sure everything, all the incidences and that on the wings are correct. All these there's millions of little adjustments here,
But I can see the aliens. Yeah. The aliens have left you with some serious technology.
Now this is technology. This here does not need batteries or any mechanical or any electronic means to make it work.
What is it?
It's airspeed.
It's airspeed.
Airspeed. It's amazingly accurate.
Yes.
What? So the wind. So I'm guessing the wind presses on this.
Yes. And it gives you the speed, and it works beautifully. Yeah, it just does confuse some of the more modern inspectors from the civil aviation, because they want to know where the calibration certificate is for it. This is a pitot and a static, and that is to give you airspeed. So the air pressure, when you got forward speed, there would be positive pressure in this is the pitot that runs along a pipe to your airspeed indicator. And that would give you airspeed on the instrument inside the cockpits. Both front and rear cockpits have an airspeed indicator. So this aircraft, by the way, was used a majority of training in the RAF for youngsters, 18-year-olds or whatever, before they first flew the Spitfire. So they learned to fly on the Tiger Moth, and they went straight onto the Spitfire after the Tiger Moths.
And these Tiger Moths were shipped to Australia, Canada, India, Rhodesia and South Africa, and all of the RAF pilots trained on them, many in South Africa and Rhodesia. These were major training points.
At Roberts Heights and many other airfields around, there was an airfield just here back of me called New Air in Randfontein, also trained a lot of pilots to fly, and this was, as Stan says, that was the standard for basic training, and youngsters, 18, 19-year-olds were going solo on these Tiger Moths, and then on to much more complex aeroplanes.
Yes, as a matter of interest, Brendan, these here, when one trained for night flying, a hood was clipped on here, which folded over, so the pilot here couldn't see out. It was totally closed in, it was dark in here, and he had to fly totally on the instruments.
Oh, fascinating.
Yeah.
I'll explain what the instruments are now. But you've got the speed, the stalling speed of this aircraft is about 45 miles per hour. So you've got to watch the speed. This is the altimeter.
Yeah.
Shows how high you are.
Yeah.
This is 5,450 feet above sea level at the moment.
Yeah.
And this is a side slift. If you've got the controls out of balance with the rudder, the stick in the rudder have got to be balanced.
Okay.
And this is how steep you're turning.
All right.
This is the compass. And this is the RPM for the engine.
Wow.
Yes, the thing with the Tiger Moth is you've got no brakes. So if you're landing on a grass runway, it's not a problem because it automatically slows down. But if you're landing on a tar runway like this, you've got no brakes, and if it's a slight slope, it just keeps going. So,
Yeah.
so you've got to veer off the tar into the grass to slow it down.
Yeah. One of the challenges of the modern inspectors is they say, why are the brakes not here? Why are they not working? And why are the tires so smooth?
Is this your hooter or no?
What is that? Is that a hooter?
What is that?
It's not a hooter. It's a venturi, and
what is
that
that?
is used to create a negative pressure or a vacuum for some of the flying instruments. And in this particular case, it'll be on the Reed and Sigrist, which is that turn and bank. The principle of venturi, when you speed up the
Yeah.
air, it reduces the pressure.
Yes.
And once the pressure reduces, that obviously creates a vacuum, and then that is piped to the instrument, the vacuum.
Okay, so the air coming in here,
Yeah.
it's going out there, it's
Yeah.
creating a pressure inside
a
here.
negative pressure.
A negative pressure.
Yeah.
And then that little hole in there, that pipe,
Yeah, that
is
pipe.
causing a pressure inside on your instrument.
Correct. It causes a vacuum on the instrument, which speeds it, and it's connected to a little gyroscope inside, which there's a little nozzle, and it spins up a little heavy gyroscope, and that's a whole another thing. But that works the instrument, so you can
There's
see the.
something they've forgotten to tell you. These aeroplanes were built by women in the Second World War while the men were on the front line.
That's quite correct. Yes, no, that's quite correct. And so
What car factory were
Morris.
they? Morris
Garage, yeah,
They
MG.
were built
Yeah.
in Morris
Yeah,
garages.
so, that's where what's it? The knitting came from. What's it? Plain one, pearl one, or what's it? The stitching on the fabric. They were good at
sewed
that.
them on. Yes.
I think one of the most memorable and pleasurable moments was taking Stan for a flip
Yes.
after the restoration.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget the day. And we came out here and put Stan in the aeroplane, and off we went. And I said, Stan, you got it. It's just after takeoff. And he flew us around the sky, and we did ballet all over the place. And then and we even did a couple of stall turns, remember? It was quite fun.
No,
And yeah, and so it was so lovely to see Stan flying his old aeroplane again, and enjoying it. And for me, it was a great pleasure, to see him enjoying it, and just have the opportunity of flying in his aeroplane again. And that gave me great pleasure. It was sort of the cherry on the cake for the restoration.
Yes.
So yeah.
No, it was absolutely wonderful to be sitting in the old Tiger again and getting the feel of it and flying it again.
Especially after Stan owning the aeroplane for nearly 60 years. I mean, it was part of him, and but I could see that the way he flew it. He hadn't flown for a couple of years, but I mean, he took over the controls, and we had a lot that.
I mean, you almost feel responsible for this plane.
Yeah, absolutely. It is a part And it was, I think Stan's whole family was here. Your daughter, Rosalind,
and son-in-law,
SN,
yes.
and
some friends.
Yes, and some friends, and to see the smile on their faces too. You know, when we got back.
Yes,
and,
I think it's most people's ambition to fly in a Tiger Moth one day.
I'm seeing something standing interesting in that hangar over there. What on earth is that? I haven't seen a helicopter like that.
Oh, it takes your kidneys and shakes them terribly. You've got to wear a kidney belt if you fly one of those things. Not like the Tiger Moth, it's nice and smooth.
Let's go and have a look.
Let's go and have a look. This is...
but hang on, next week.